It's Thursday, May 3rd, 2018.
Welcome to Ion Fordham. I'm Rafael Leah.
And I'm Caroline Rotante. On today's show, we'll show you the salad that Bronx kids can't get enough of.
We'll introduce you to some brand new lacrosse players taking the Bronx by storm.
And we'll show you what these Fordham hip-hop dancers have cooked up for their spring performance.
But we start today with Fordham Student Television. The club is back, up and running.
It gives students hands-on video production experience, both behind and in front of the camera. I went to Fordham TV to find out where it's been and what's in store.
Here are the week's top stories.
Fordham University senior Kelsey Miklas prepares to deliver the week's top stories as an anchor with Fordham Student TV's new news show.
Students, the student leaders at Student TV are the ones who are saying this is something that we want to do. And they're utilizing the new equipment and this new makeshift studio space to really get that hands-on experience. That's so important.
Fordham hasn't had a television club for 2 years since Fordham Nightly News went off the air. The new student-run TV program will have 4 shows: news, entertainment, comedy, and sports. English major Sean Colin is a writer and producer with the comedy show.
Now I'm getting that applied knowledge so I could use it in bringing the things I want to do creatively to life.
For weeks, students got training to learn how to use studio equipment. The tech team was on hand to make sure each show launch was as smooth as possible. Communications Department Associate Chair Dr. Beth Noble helped resurrect the program and get the space and equipment needed.
What this will be is up to the students to make it into something that will help with their careers, that will inform our campus, and will make this a really great and fun venture for everyone involved.
But the equipment has to be pulled out and then stored back in closets because this space used to be a full-time dance studio. President of the Jetés Club, Tegan Reese, says now time in the studio is limited.
We totally know how hard it is to get time in this space and understand, but having it happen like in the middle of the semester and have to change things that had already been in place was really difficult.
This is the original studio space on Fordham University's Rose Hill campus in the basement of Walsh Library. As you can see, the studio is equipped with an anchor desk, full lighting, as well as a green screen where students practice being able to tell the weather. According to library staff, this space is currently being used for meetings. Students under the umbrella of the communications department are not allowed to use the old studio.
I don't really know. You'd have to ask the library about what they're doing with that old space.
But Miklas says the club is making the most of this new space, giving students the opportunity to make TV again. All of Fordham Student TV's shows will look to recruit new members during the Fall Club Fair.
Warm weather is finally upon us here in the Bronx, but back on March 8th, forecasters predicted New York City was about to get pounded by the worst snowstorm of the winter. Schools across the city were closing down and bracing to combat the snow. Chris Calamari braved the cold temperatures to see how Fordham fared.
Snowplows crisscrossed Fordham's Rose Hill campus, picking up snow with the facility staff. Custodial worker Mario Lucero shoveled the back entrance to Freeman Hall.
Good. It's not that bad. Yeah, I've seen worse. It's not bad.
School was canceled because the university expected to get 6 to 9 inches. The final snow totals were between 3 and 5 inches. Even still, Lucero and the nearly 50-member crew began clearing at 11 a.m. on Wednesday when the snow started, and they kept at it until 6 the next morning.
It's a pretty big snowstorm, and I think overall Fordham's done a pretty good job. I noticed some of the streets coming in towards campus were a little slushy, but I think they've done a good job under the circumstances.
Large plows and snow blowers were used for main streets and large openings, while small groups cleaned the steps and entryways.
I think they do a pretty good job for the safety of the worker and the students and the staff.
Many students made the most out of the winter wonderland, making and then jumping off of giant snowballs. For Ion Fordham, I'm Chris Calamari.
Now, with the end of snowstorms and cold weather comes the end of the worst flu season in a decade.
Many Fordham University students found it difficult to stay healthy. Mural Kathwari reports on what students did to prevent the virus from spreading.
Students at Fordham University's campuses are still getting sick with the flu virus, regardless of having taken preventative measures.
I got vaccinated for the flu in early September of this year on campus, but I still ended up getting sick. I had a fever, body ache, and chills.
The university sent out a public safety health advisory email warning students there's been a significant increase of the influenza virus this year. According to the Director of Student Health Services at Fordham, there have been over 100 cases on Rose Hill's campus since the beginning of the nationwide flu epidemic. Students blame it on unavoidable close exposure.
I think that by traveling between the campuses, using the RAM van, being in such tight enclosed spaces, and people coughing in the RAM van, that kind of helps the spread.
The Director of Student Health Services, Kathleen Malara, says the students have been in contact with someone who has the virus. There are plenty of preventative measures you can take to avoid getting the flu.
If they feel like they are having flu symptoms, they can certainly come into us. We are still doing some rapid testing. We are in a room with another student who has been diagnosed with influenza. They should contact us because we can actually give them prophylactic medication.
According to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, there have been 114 pediatrics deaths since October 1st of 2017, and there have been over 178,000 people who have tested positive for the virus. Students can still make an appointment to get vaccinated or treated at the University Health Center, located in O'Hare Hall. I'm Rala Kethuari, reporting for Fordham University TV.
New York recorded more than 87,000 cases of influenza between October and February.
Another major headline of the past months has been the Me Too movement. It has sparked a global conversation about how women and their bodies are viewed and treated by society.
Some students here at Fordham took that conversation to the stage. Kelsey Miklas explains.
My short skirt and everything under it is mine.
Those are the final words of Kaylee Barron's monologue, My Short Skirt, a poem about women feeling empowered to wear what they want, when they want. The poem is just one part of the Vagina Monologues, a play comprised of over 20 testimonials by women about their relationships with their bodies and sexuality.
It brings such a supposedly taboo subject, and it literally puts it in front of an audience of hundreds of people and says, this is our reality of, half of the people in the world.
The show by Eve Ensler comes from a series of over 200 interviews Ensler conducted with women of all backgrounds, races, and ages.
What's a smart girl like you going around asking old ladies about this?
This year, 4 Fordham students added to the production by writing their own monologue. One was by transgender male student Jonah Foley.
I felt so secure in this body. This no longer female, not quite male body.
Junior Gabrielle Piella performed in the show for the first time. She wanted to get involved after seeing the show her freshman year.
I had never learned it at any point in time, so I think, that taught me so much about myself, and I think that that's just a really important experience that all women should have.
Barron says the show is especially relevant in the wake of the Me Too movement.
So I hope it inspires people to kind of take their own monologue and give that back to the world.
Barron hopes the show adds to the current conversation about women's experiences in modern society. For Eye on Fordham, I'm Kelsey Miklas.
The show raised over $1,000, and the proceeds went to the Concourse House Women's Shelter in the Bronx.
Coming up next, not everyone spends hundreds of dollars on Valentine's Day dinner.
Stick around to see how some people made the best of a few bucks.
Welcome back. I'm Julia Rist.
And I'm Haley Messenger. The Bronx community that surrounds Fordham University is what's known as a food desert.
That means residents have limited access to healthy foods, but a new salad made especially for the Bronx hopes to change that.
Miss Kim's after-school program is chowing down for lunch in the Bronx, but it's not your typical elementary school fare. It's a salad, specifically the Bronx salad.
When I tried it, it tasted like it came straight from the trees and they just put water on it, and it tastes like very healthy.
The Bronx salad's got mixed greens, red peppers, red onions, olives, tomatoes, corn, black beans, plantain chips, mango, and avocado. Kalani Muhammad says she would gladly choose the Bronx salad over chips.
Also that it could help you grow stronger, and that I suggest kids to eat it.
The Bronx salad is part of an initiative called the #Not62 campaign. It's a response to Robert Wood's 2016 study that ranked the Bronx 62 out of 62 in New York State counties for health outcomes.
The Food Bank of New York City says 250,000 residents living in the Bronx are food insecure, which means they don't have reliable access to nutritious, affordable food like bananas.
The nonprofit organization BronxWorks is working to change that. It partners with 3 community centers to bring healthy choices to elementary and middle school students in after-school programs.
The idea was to sort of give the communities a recognizable healthy choice that also represented sort of the flavor of the community.
But kitchen manager Rachel Gill says the Bronx still has a long way to go. This year, the study was conducted again, and the Bronx was still last.
And unfortunately, there is this idea that there's kid food, and then adult food is different. So that's been a bit of a challenge to educate and say that everybody can eat the same thing.
Gill says exposure to healthy food at a young age increases the chance that they'll eat healthy as adults.
Right now, the Bronx salad is sold in dozens of bodegas and eateries.
The young Bronxites in our next story are the picture of health thanks to a new fitness program.
They've recently learned how to play lacrosse and in doing so are becoming better students. Raphael Aliyah explains.
The students at Highbridge Green School, a middle school in the South Bronx, have been given a unique and inspiring opportunity. They're playing lacrosse, which has become more of a lifestyle change than just an after-school activity. One student is 6th grader Darius Void, and like many of the students, lacrosse is keeping him focused on bigger goals.
You need to pass your classes in order to practice, and you have to have great attendance, and great attendance is most important because that's what high schools look at, and high schools look at your grades all the time.
The program began about 2 years ago when Teach for America placed Dan Leventhal at this school. The 26-year-old math teacher has a lacrosse background, and when he saw the scarce opportunity these kids had, he knew he had to introduce the sport. Last summer, he added a girls' team and established an organization called Bronx Lacrosse.
Everybody was just so amazed by the improvement of the students, so that's how I knew Bronx Lacrosse had to be formed, because that's the point of what we're trying to do here, is to use lacrosse as a vehicle to improve life outcomes and get these kids onto great paths forward.
Regular practices take place right here on this court, where students continue to learn the game using equipment that's been acquired mostly through donations from the community. But what's happening out here is only part of the story. In there, lacrosse has been affecting these kids in school and in life.
The ultimate goal of what we're trying to do here is get these kids to college. That's the pathway towards success, so we're trying to do whatever it takes, mentoring, whatever I need to do, whatever our girls coaches need to do to try and get our students to college.
To that end, Leventhal even hosts weekly team tutoring sessions.
He always tells us, families first, school, and then lacrosse. So once he told me that, and once we got to study halls, I noticed my grades had to go higher, so it went up.
And school officials say it's the same for the entire lacrosse team. All this while the kids are just having fun playing lacrosse. Raphael Aliyah, Ion Fordham.
Bronx Lacrosse is looking to expand next year to another Bronx school and hopefully more beyond that.
Young residents got moving in another part of the borough at the start of the spring season. Fordham University's Best Buddies chapter had its first ever field day in April.
Best Buddies is a nonprofit organization dedicated to mentoring people with intellectual or developmental disabilities. I went to the event to check it out.
Young Bronx residents from the Kingsbridge Community Center and Fordham students take their mark as they begin a game of red light, green light on Martyrs Lawn. Best Buddies mentor Sean McLaughlin puts the yellow and orange teams to the test. Chapter President and Fordham Junior Danielle Camarosano says these activities are important in facilitating one of Best Buddies' missions, one-to-one friendships.
I think that to create organic friendships, a lot of that happens through physical activity, letting your guard down, not having the confines of a classroom kind of define your friendship. It's very loose. It's very get to know everyone.
Kingsbridge Community Center coordinator Ken Roebuck says collaborating with Fordham students at an event like this allows the young Bronx residents with intellectual or developmental disabilities to feel a part of a community where they can be themselves.
One of our students, Justin, was like, can I go to Fordham? Can I come here? I think they just really feel connected with the Best Buddies here.
Even on one of the hottest days of the spring yet, Best Buddies still found a way to keep it cool and refreshing.
Ready? Nope, not yet.
The 6 teams also competed against each other in the classic backyard game of water balloon toss.
We're still in it! Let's go!
Camarosano brainstormed the idea for the club when she was a freshman. After having to leave her job at Camp Anchor, a summer camp on Long Island dedicated to helping kids and adults with special needs, Camarosano had to find another way to pursue her passion.
Never in my wildest dreams would I dream that this would happen and it'd be where it all started. So it's really just a dream come true for me, from my perspective.
And it seems Camarosano's dream will go on. Best Buddies Executive Board is planning the 2nd annual field day next year.
Best Buddies capped off their first year as an official club with a dance at Riverdale Country School here in the Bronx.
A well-known fast food joint was also spreading positivity near Fordham's campus.
The White Castle invites lovers from all walks of life to enjoy a restaurant-style dinner on Valentine's Day at an affordable price. Georgia Pullis was there.
For the 3rd year running, Fordham University juniors Jasnam Graywall and Philip Barsamian bring in their friends to the White Castle on Fordham Road, not only for a Valentine's Day photo op, but to get their hands on some greasy sliders.
We initially saw a sign outside that said, oh, you need to make a reservation. We're like, White Castle making a reservation for White Castle for Valentine's Day dinner. What is that? And then I guess it turned into a whole thing. We dress up and here we are.
Fantastic. Over the past few years, students like Graywall and Barsamian have welcomed White Castle into their lives, particularly for special occasions.
It's a magnificent place. I love it. Good celebration. And I'm so excited to eat. I haven't eaten yet today, so it's going to be my first meal. Same. This is kind of all of our first meals. Yeah, all of our friends. Chow down on them.
On this holiday, the White Castle waitstaff gets out from behind the counter to offer table service.
I do like working here on Valentine's Day. It's kind of fun since this is different than the usual, and serving people behind the register.
Some customers choose to attend because you can't go wrong with a low-priced meal paired with the feeling of a real restaurant experience.
A tablecloth setting, and you have music, wait staff, it's just, and plastic cutleries. It's just amazing. So I hope White Castle keeps doing it because, more and more people should do this. This is amazing.
This year, even Fordham Flava made an appearance, delivering personalized danceograms to some of the students. Georgia Pullis, Eye on Fordham.
Coming up next, we'll take you to the New York Botanical Garden
and their annual orchid show. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to Eye on Fordham. I'm Manny Adeye.
And I'm Georgia Pullis. The Fordham ladies softball team is on the verge of something very big.
They're hoping to win their 6th straight Atlantic 10 title. I went to the field to find out just exactly how they're going to do this. In her final season playing softball at Fordham University, grad student Lauren Quentz has high hopes for the team and is focused on winning.
My goal, and I know me and Maddie are on the same page with this, Women's College World Series all day. Come on, you want to be playing in June. You want to be on TV. Everyone's watching you. You're getting tweets, texts from everyone like, oh my God, there you are. That's our goal. Our goal is to make it to the Women's College World Series, inevitably, hopefully, win.
With their current 8-1 record in conference play, the Fordham Lady Rams prepare for their next opponent, St. Bonaventure. Just one day before the game, they have a full day of lifting, running, and practice. The players believe head coach Bridget Orchard's coaching style keeps them ahead of the competition.
And the best thing that she tries to have us do is just, stay the same and stay consistent. We don't want to try to get too high on wins, and we don't want to get too low in our losses.
After winning 4 back-to-back titles, the Fordham women's softball team is poised for another championship run. Coach Bridget Orchard is very clear about what they have to do to achieve this goal.
Our team plays well when they're ready, when they're fired up and they lock in and they really stay up and they really stay focused. And I think the conference games coming up, we're just looking for them to just stay steady. Really just play some good defense, get some good pitching, key hits, and really step up and play well.
The team will host this year's A-10 Championship Tournament in May, the first time in 5 years. Quentz remembers it well.
Winning at our home field freshman year was pretty awesome. So I'm excited for this year. We're back at home.
And she hopes the Lady Rams will be able to win it all once again. The A-10 tournament takes place starting May 9th. Now we turn to another athletic group, Fordham University's hip-hop dance team, Flava.
They just held their spring showcase, but before the lights and costumes came a lot of practice. I was able to watch their final rehearsals. Fordham senior Brianna Sullivan is showing off her salty side with the dance she choreographed to IDGAF by Dua Lipa. All the Flava dancers have been working on keeping it spicy hot with their Watch Me Cook themed show, featuring student choreographed dances.
There's like 4 mixes, so in between we have like the flavors, spicy, salty, sweet, and sour. We've been working on it all year round.
Senior Carly Burke says her favorite dance is to Plain Jane by A$AP Ferg, which takes place in the sour segment of the showcase. She says the complicated choreography takes time to perfect.
During our showcase week, we're here 7 days a week, from 7 till whenever. We don't put an end time on it. There's been nights that we're here till 4 a.m. honestly, so that is definitely the hardest because I balance work and school on top of it all, so I'm very tired during this week.
Even though the nights before the showcase can be Hell's Kitchen level stressful, team president Emily Kramer believes their hard work will pay off.
It's just so easy to create a family through, I feel like, dance, because it's such a vulnerable art and you have to be super put yourself out there, even if you're a shy person. You're dancing all the time around these people.
At the beginning of each new year, after saying goodbye to the Flava seniors, the remaining team members will host auditions for new members in this McGinley Ballroom. Now, just imagine this room filled with 80 other participants, all waiting and ready to show the judges what they can do best. While it's hard to bid farewell to some of Flava's longest-standing dancers, freshman Jordan Dabney is looking forward to what the next 3 years on the team will hold.
The main thing I'm getting out of it is just a lot of fun. I love dancing with people, so being able to meet, make new friends here, have this other outlet to express myself and create.
This year's creations will be served up at the spring performance, and hundreds will be there to taste it.
Fordham's experimental theater group also finished out their spring season.
It was a playwright festival featuring 3 student-written, directed, and produced shows. Elise Reichard takes us behind the scenes of one of them.
The sounds of Tim Mountain's original musical, Oh My Heart, echoes through Collins Hall as students prepare to perform in Fordham's Black Box Theater.
This musical that I'm presenting this year is called Oh My Heart, and it's about a man who wakes up one morning and realizes that somebody owes him money.
Mountain wrote, produced, and directed the show himself. It's the second time he's undertaken such a feat.
It's all kids, no adults around here. We build our own sets, we do our own lights. There's a part deep down inside of me that's totally terrified. But things usually work out, especially with productions like this.
Like most Black Box shows, there is a smaller cast and crew, just 6 actors and a 4-piece band. They rehearse every day for about 3 weeks before performing for just 3 nights. For FET senior and Oh My Heart cast member Jamie Connors, the final curtains of her college theater career will come to a close in May.
Shows have this very special quality to them where it feels like you're never going to get there, and then all of a sudden it all comes together on opening night. So I really do think that it's gonna be something very special.
Connors says it will be bizarre when FET isn't a constant in her life after graduation.
It's been a ride, and I am so looking forward to the last leg.
Mountain and his cast put the finishing touches on their choreography, lines, costumes, and sets, just in time for opening night. This is Elise Reichard for Eye on Fordham.
The cast of Oh My Heart played to a sold-out crowd in March.
Finally, spring has sprung at the New York Botanical Garden.
Kicking it all off, the annual orchid show inside the Glass Dome Conservatory. Bria McNeil takes us under the canopy of flowers.
This is Haley Wolfberger's second year attending the New York Botanical Garden Orchid Show, but she's still learning new facts about flowers that she did not know before.
We were just discussing, I didn't know that vanilla came from orchids, so I found that very interesting, and I think all the different orchids among the different plants is pretty cool.
For the past 26 years, the Bronx Botanical Gardens has hosted the event, and this year, the tradition lives on with more beautiful displays of flowers. There are around 30,000 different natural species that can be found on Earth. While the Bronx can't display each species, they do have the rainforest and desert exhibits to demonstrate all orchid habitats. This year's main attraction is the sculpture at the very front of the exhibit, the first thing visitors see.
Behind me, we have the Cascade of Orchids, which was created by Daniel Orts. Orts spent an entire year coming to the grounds, figuring out exactly how he wanted each and every exhibit to be laid out. The designs were given to all the workers who spent an entirety of 3 weeks designing every single project, and everything is laid out exactly how he planned.
Employee Velva Brown helps organize the exhibit.
When it's lit up for orchid nights, orchid evenings, the way the light reflects in the tubes, it looks like a rainforest effect.
The orchid show closed at the end of April, but we'll be back again next spring. For Eye on Fordham, I'm Bria McNeil.
And that's our show.
Thanks for watching. And from all of us from Eye on Fordham,
Good night.